All right.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Who we got jumping in? Jeff Pike, Nathan, good stuff. Eric Gustafson, Ben Becker, lots of people jumping in. Jim Cable, right on. Alan Lehman. Got a good group this morning. A lot of people already in.
It's all good.
Should
Somebody has some background music.
I'll mute anyone that's not muted right now.
Yeah, perfect. And we'll give people another couple of, maybe another minute to jump in, and then we'll get started with introductions and all of that stuff.
Perfect.
Okay. Looks like that's, I don't see anybody else jumping in the waiting room right now.
No, if anyone does, I'll admit them.
Fantastic. Then I am going to, let's do this. We'll spotlight me, and I'm Kyler with Contractor Convergence. Let's see if I can get, I did that wrong. I should do Paul first. Let's get Paul. There we go.
Hello there.
There's Paul with Contractor Staffing Source, and I'm Kyler with Contractor Convergence. And I think I can spotlight both of us. There. Now we got us both. And the artificial intelligence for contractors slide that Justin has up. Justin and Carell are going to be leading us through artificial intelligence for contractors. First, I thought we'd do a little bit of an introduction for both of our companies. We work together collaboratively to help contractors with their businesses and their business goals. Contractor Staffing Source, as the name implies, is primarily a staffing agency, but they go a lot deeper than that. And Paul's going to tell you about their company and what they do. We at Contractor Convergence are primarily a coaching and mentoring company. We work with contractors to build first-class, high-ticket, high-touch experience type of relationships with their clients. It's all about the client experience and being proactive, creating a pre-construction process that really leads you all the way through completion of the project. And it's a very unique approach. We call it a process for success, and you'll start to learn and hear that if you ever work with us. It's one of the things that separates us and all of our clients from their competition. It really eliminates competition in the marketplace. Contractor Staffing Source has been a tremendous resource for us and our clients as they grow and scale these companies, needing to add professional people that can provide those experiences and have the knowledge and the background and the skills necessary to lead and be in management positions in those high touch, high experience type of businesses. And so, Paul, go ahead and tell us a little bit about Contractor Staffing Source and what you guys do.
Contractor Staffing Source is evolving. I consider ourselves sort of a fractional CFO. I'm fractional CHO, chief HR person. With the advent of, we're going to talk about artificial intelligence, we've taken on more of a role. Basically, our job is to help build great teams. That's what we do. And when you think about it, anybody is successful in any business, the most important asset they have is the ability to build their team. I mean, the reason Elon Musk is as rich as he is, he's a really smart guy, but his superpower is the ability to build teams. So we help people build teams. We do it in two ways. One, we work with their current team. And as far as assessing their team, we have a pass system which allows us to assess their current team, who's good and who's not good and how they can be better, and develop basically a personal development plan for everybody on the team so we can make your team as good as it can be. And then if you need new people or you need to replace people, we help find the new people you need. So basically what we do is help you build great teams because you're only as good as your team. And if you're a coach, like Kyler here, having a great team makes your job a lot easier, right?
Oh, absolutely. It's the best. I mean, when you got the right team put together, we get to elevate to the next level, right? You're not held back by restrictions of what your capacity is. So,
and to sports analogy, I mean, we help build a great team, sort of like you want to call people with that, scouts and that kind of thing. We help build a great team, and then a great team needs a great coach, right? So how we work together that way.
Exactly. Yep. And it's been working well for a couple of years, and we look forward to doing this a lot more. Speaking of teams, let's go ahead and introduce ours and then get this show on the road. I'll go ahead and remove our spotlights. And if you guys click in the top right-hand corner of your Zoom window, you'll be able to select a view. And Justin, maybe not sharing the slide for a minute would be good, just so that we all get a bigger view of everybody in the room. I'm going to go ahead and introduce my team first, Paul. Let's have Jeff, if you want to raise your hand. And if you guys have clicked on that gallery view in the top right-hand corner, you should be able to see everybody. Rick, go ahead and give everybody a wave. There we go. And where's Doug Lutz? There he is. Perfect. And so that is Contractor Convergence. We are the principals and coaches for our company. And anytime that we're doing any presenting or, involved in stuff, we're the people you get to see and work with. We are very active in every process that our business does. So excellent. Paul, go ahead. Let's hear who you got with you today.
There was Justin, who's on another planet in more way than one, right? There's Justin. So he's the guy who knows more about artificial intelligence than anybody I know. And close second is you have Carell. Justin's in Hawaii, even though it looks like he's on whatever planet that is. And Carell is in Bolivia, and he's a really smart guy. And then there's Jennifer, she's in Hawaii. And that's our team members. We have about 22 people on the team, something like that. And, that's AI is my new best friend. Since I ChatGPT, my wife so gets sick of hearing about it. My kids get sick of hearing about it, because it's literally, I feel my favorite thing the last couple of weeks has been introducing people that don't know what ChatGPT is. And it's like telling them the aliens have landed, when they see it and they go, oh my God. I mean, as an example, I had a guy who's a catering company. He said, I wanted to design an event in San Francisco for high-end clients for Christmas, make it knock their socks off and do the menu. It designed this amazing event. It shows the venue. It shows all the cool things that he should do, where they should be, how all the effects and what the effects should be. And then it had the menu, showed the whole menu, showed where to order all the stuff. And he goes, well, at least I get to serve the food, right? So it's like, it has made a huge difference. And my new favorite thing to do the last week or so, and Justin likes that, is ChatGPT, whatever this means, has gone from 150 billion parameters, whatever a parameter is, to, you ready for this number, 100 trillion parameters. I have no idea what that means, but it sounds very impressive. Justin would probably know, and Carell would know. But anyhow, it's been real fun. So Justin, since you're the expert on this, why don't you proceed, and we'll just sort of tell contractors how it's going to change our life.
Absolutely. Thank you. Thank you very much.
One more quick thing. I just want to jump in. Sorry, Justin. Guys, this is an interactive experience, an interactive meeting, if you will. And so as much as possible, we like to have cameras on, know that people are here and listening. It's one of the things that we find gets you to pay attention more and be in front of the screen and learning this stuff. So if at all possible, I ask everybody, turn your cameras on. We're going to be asking you questions, wave your hand, give us thumbs up as we talk about stuff. It's nice for us to know that we got people in the room. So if you don't mind, please turn your camera on and let us know that you're participating. I appreciate it.
It really helps you watch the expression on your face when you see some of this stuff. Like you get if you don't go, oh my God, you're not listening.
Right, exactly. And we don't want Justin and Carell to feel like they're talking to nobody. Okay. So go ahead, guys.
Be a part of the community.
Exactly. All right. Go ahead,
friends.
Justin.
Nathan, it's good to see you.
Great to be back. Thank you for having us again, Contractor Convergence team. For those of you that don't know my bio very well, before I got into recruiting, I actually was in web page design and in IT. I got into it in about 1999, and I remember sitting there and thinking to myself, when these people find out about HTML and JavaScript and the implications it's going to have in the next decades, this thing is going to be crazy. This is when Amazon was still a bookstore. And I feel like I'm at another precipice in my lifetime where a new technology that's come along, the same way HTML and JavaScript hit us and created web pages and the internet that we have now. I feel like GPT and AI technology is going to do the same thing over the next 20 or 30 years. So I'm really excited to first share this with you, and second off to, be here to experience it. So let's talk about what does AI mean for, and how are we going to experience it for contractors. So we're talking about ChatGPT. GPT is generative pre-trained transformer technology, which is a chatbot. It's a type of model called an NLP, or a natural language processing model. This is not HAL from Space Odyssey 2001. It is the most advanced chatbot humanity has ever seen. It has been trained by OpenAI, the company that owns it. They also own a company called DALL-E, D-A-L-L-E, which is the imaging side of what GPT does. And it is trained on using and learning how to use text without a programmer on the other side. So it's taught, as Paul has shared with us, trillions of parameters. You can do something between this and this. You can do something between this and this, something between this and this, and get answers. What does that mean for us? It means that we now have a tool that will allow us to create documentation, email, or any other text document that you need for your company. And all we need to do is identify the appropriate way with which to communicate with this GPT technology. Knowing the right prompts to give and knowing how to communicate with GPT really is essential to getting the most out of it. So how is this AI technology going to truly disrupt the industry? Well, first and foremost, remain calm. Again, HAL from Space Odyssey 2001 is not quite here yet, but this is going to change the way that we look at construction and the resources that you have available to you. It's a whole new medium. Kind of like web pages, again, in my lifetime have changed everything. I feel like GPT and how GPT leads to machine learning and AI is also going to change everything. So we're in a very exciting precipice, and those people who learn to harness this technology now are really going to be at a great advantage. What we've come to find already is that when we use it and when our clients use it, they're able to get a lot more done. In any given day, some of those processes that might have slowed them down, all of the documentation that's needed, all of the communications that are required, can really be squished into a much more efficient period of time. And your business model can change because of that. So in our team meetings, we've all been saying this, and Paul and I have this conversation a lot. AI is not coming for our jobs, folks. Someone using AI is coming for your jobs. Someone who knows how to master these technologies and work more efficiently truly is ready to harness this technology. That's the SWOT analysis.
As an example would be, let's say I've been using it a lot as an attorney. Instead of having an attorney, you can talk to AI and say, hey, you're an attorney. Can you please write me a non-disclosure agreement? Can you please write me a contract? Anything you would ask your attorney to do, you could ask AI to do. And it's a pretty good attorney because it's passed the bar exam in every state. And it only is $20 a month, which is way cheaper than your attorney. It can be your doctor. You can say, hey, you're my doctor. I have this and this pain. Can you tell me what to do? It'll tell you what to do. It could be a teacher. You can say, hey, you're my teacher. Can you do this? And say, you can make it any trained advisor you want it to be. Hey, you're my HR, pick one. And it takes on that personality, for lack of a better term, and becomes that person. It gives you answers like that person. So it totally changes the way you're going to integrate with a lot of advisors you've had in the past. And I think it's great because it can, like I was writing I think it was a contract for somebody for a plumbing contractor. And instead of waiting to get the contract and getting it back and all that kind of stuff, it took me like 10 seconds and he had his subcontractor agreement. It was done. And all the rules in that state were adhered by. So it saved him a ton. Anyhow, it is changing things as we sit here.
Absolutely. I have a quick question. If you guys want to type into the chat, if you have signed up or used ChatGPT or through the OpenAI platform, just if you want to put in the chat, yes, you have, or no, just kind of get a feel for how many people actually have gotten logged on and either created the full ChatGPT Plus account, which is $20 a month, like Paul mentioned, or got in on the free version, which you can also sign up for. Yes, with a little success. Phil says yes. Jim says no. So a couple of yeses and a handful of no's. Nathan and Jeff Pike. Do you know if Doug Lutz or if Doug Smith got signed up, or Steve Smith? I mean, he was trying to. Yes, free version for John Alexander. Philip Gray says yes. Cool. Okay, so we got some people that have experienced it a little bit. That's good. If you kind of know the parameters, if you've signed up, you kind of had a chance to play with it. It's hard not to. If you haven't, I'm assuming at the end of this, we're going to show people how to do that, right, Justin?
We're moving into the implementation part of our symposium / presentation today.
Perfect.
So we're going to talk about first of all, how it can help you. Then we're actually going to go in and we're going to take some of these scripts and actually input them into GPT and see what it does. So
There we go.
we're on the team, us at CSS, Corel and I, but many of us as well, are all really passionate about using this technology. So one of the things that we really want to do is, ensure each of our clients has a script library they continue to build. It can just be a WordPad folder on your office manager's laptop, but that we start to build these script libraries. And it really is the most powerful for us to just dive right in and show you. So let me stop the share, open up ChatGPT, and we'll dive right on in. This is the fun of doing it live.
Right. I've been doing it live a lot lately, and I always hope something like, for example, I used to use House for finding a list of architects to call on. And now I can just say, make a list of all the architects within 10 miles of Boston to do high-end residential construction and high-end residential architecture. And it gives me the list if I answer the right question. And then I can say, well, I need more information. Give me the principal, and it'll do it. I say, well, I need a website. It'll give me that. And again, you got to work with it, but it's way easier than a lot of the ways we've done this. Okay, you ready, Justin?
Yes.
Looks like we're set.
So I've write a collection letter to a construction client who's late on payment. Make it polite but direct. I've punctuated so that it knows that there's some programming lines it needs to process. GPT then goes in and analyzes the text that I've given it, goes out and looks at the trillions and trillions of options that it has, and says, how do I make this the best that I can? And then through the magic buggery of AI has created this in seconds.
Now, Justin, what if you say, write it like you're an attorney? Is it different?
So what you'd like to do is go rewrite. And you have to write it. In which state, Paul?
Let's go for, I don't know, California. It's the most litigious state I know of. I lived there for a while. Attorneys do well here. There's a lot of billboards in California. Call your attorney.
You should do it in SpongeBob's voice.
I actually had it right in a class that I'm taking on ChatGPT. I had a guy ask it to write about making a peanut butter and jelly sandwich in the prose of the New King James Bible. And I thought we found the last lost Dead Sea Scroll. It was so accurate. So it actually
tweaked it a little bit.
It did. And now it's given, because it was California, it's given me a California civil code. Best practices are still to check the code and make sure that it's giving you the best data. But I now have an extremely factual and capable piece of documentation that I can send out to somebody. And again, as contractor staffing source, what we're doing with our PASS system, our performance assessment system, is making sure that people really build their most capable teams. And by doing this, you've added another level of efficiency and capability to your team. Now those extremely capable people on your team can have more things to do, more complicated things to do. And this building of the intellectual property of your company can can happen more simplistically.
Right. Another thing that you can do, because it is AI learning, is that you can ask it to improve this letter.
Yes.
Just go ahead, you ask it that, or to after you've done that, how could you improve this letter? Then you can say, rewrite it with those recommendations, and it'll do a further iteration of that process for you.
You can
So
ask it to improve the letter and make it more friendly.
Exactly.
Or you can say improve the letter and make it not as friendly, or you can say make it humorous. I mean,
So how many of you have used this, of those of you that have signed up, how many of you have used this to create documentation for your company at this point? Just go ahead and type in the chat, give us an idea of what your level of use is now that we know a few of you have already signed up for it.
well, they're coming. I will say my level of use is I pretty much use it almost on every call I have with people, because they're always saying, can I do this or can I do that? And I said, well, let's ask my new best friend, right? And even got to my friends the other day, I was talking about that your body is half bacteria and half cells. And he says, well, how much does the bacteria in your body weigh? I said, I don't know, I'll find out. The bacteria in your body weighs about 5 pounds. I found that out. So, take any obscure question that you wanted to know, and it gives you a reasonable answer if you ask the right question.
All right. John Alexander says he's only experimented with it. We'll try using it soon. That's great. I mean, and these little things, like Paul said, as you think of something, start playing around with it. It really will start to show you the depth of information that it can collect and put together in one place. I've used it multiple times now with clients who are looking for a specific job description, clients of ours who are working with Contractor Staffing Source and saying, hey, we want a starting place for this job before we go talk to Contractor Staffing Source about hiring it. No problem. Let's write a job description for a pre-construction specialist. And then we go and we do it and we refine it, and then we make it, match their company and all of that. And then they get a great launch pad for starting that hiring process. We've used it for all kinds of other process documents, write a standard operating procedure for X, and then you can refine it with more questions.
Right, we have a couple here, good examples of that, don't you, Justin? Go for it.
Oh yeah, that's perfect. That sounds great.
So an example that we've used successfully in the past is where we take a client's existing job ad, and I wrote, rewrite this ad to make it more fun, add a fun introduction. Then I inputted the ad, and welcome future pre-construction estimating manager extraordinaire. If I went on Indeed and that was the first line after 14 boring job ads, I think I would stop and look. So it made a very enticing job ad that says, we're fun, we're interesting. And the pros that it chose is it chose the communication like a real person. I felt like I was communicating with someone when I read this ad. So I was really inspired by that. But it forgot that the owner was a woman. So I said, hey, can you make it more woman-owned focus and make sure that this is usable on Indeed? It condensed it because Indeed has a page limit, and it brought in that orientation. Then I said, no, it's still too big. Trim it down a little. And then I'm like, nope, we trimmed it down too much. So I asked it to put back some. Then we met in the middle right here. You can see how by having a conversation with it, by not just going, give me something and accepting something back, I can really refine the data that it provides for me. And that's what I find that with ChatGPT is so valuable, is that it gets me so close to the finish line on the documentation that I need to present, that at that point, it's like a 5 or 10 minute edit rather than like an hour edit.
Right. It even does show them the Gantt chart. That was amazing to me. Do you have that in there, Justin?
I have the KSAO chart, which I planned on showing here.
Right.
So we do a lot of stuff with our PASS system and with KPIs and KSAOs. KPIs being key performance indicators, and KSAOs being knowledge, skills, ability, and other activities. I think the analogy of building a sporting team where you're always training and promoting your top 20% and always finding a way to either work with or eject your bottom 20% is really essential in healthy human resources. But how do we do that if we don't have a way to measure what's going on in our organization? So I asked ChatGPT, as an HR professional, what are these things? It told me what they are. I said, okay, based on that information, can you create some stuff for me, some training materials? I need some skill-based, some behavior-based KPIs. Can you also base those KPIs based on best practices in HR KSAOs? It really is advisable that you use ChatGPT for things you already have technical ability in. If you asked it to make, a layout with you with CSI codes, if you asked it to make a scope, because you guys have the technical expertise, it's going to be able to realize that and put it out for you. The way I think about it is I just hired a digital high school valedictorian who now is my personal assistant. And his or her name is ChatGPT. Because then I can go back.
Excellent way. Yeah.
And the reason I choose high school valedictorian is its data mindedness and its syntax linguistically are like that. It's perfect every single time. But what's nice is that we got what we needed, and I said, okay, I need some more data. So can you create me a 6-week onboarding plan and some skills? It created me a 6-week onboarding plan. It gave me this 3 skill-based key performance indicators, 3 behavior-based KPIs, and then it gave me the things that from the KSAOs at the US Department of Labor, it was relevant to. I said, that's great. Okay, I need a scoring system now, and I need this scoring system to be 1 to 5. It gave me the scoring system, and it gave me the things to score. So by having a brief revision with ChatGPT, I created an entire HR process for one of our clients. This client had the rebuttal to me when I said, hey, we should really be doing more HR. HR is too complicated, and I don't have time. And I said, oh, sir, let me show you ChatGPT. And now this person, in less time than it takes to finish a Big Mac, can complete their entire install of an HR process into their organization.
Right. Again, we're using this as our job is to build great teams, right? So we find that we can build great teams a lot easier using this thing, but like, writing HR, all the things he did, that would take a lot longer than it did in the past. So we use this as a tool so we can help our clients build great teams, making the current team they have better and recruiting new people onto the team. You're building houses or you're doing remodels. It's a tool to do the same kind of thing, right? So you can use it to make you way better at what you do and getting around a lot of the mundane stuff that you do not want to do, right? So we use it as a jet for all this stuff. We use it for these things for us, which allows us to do a way better job because our job is to build you a great team. They people that work for you and make them better, and also get new people to work for you that are amazing. But when you're building a house or you're doing ChatGPT is the same thing. It gives you access to the world database to write the documents you need to do an awesome job. Right? Justin?
Quick question before Justin gets going. How many of you guys are now seeing, if you haven't used ChatGPT or you've just logged in and started playing around with it, how many of you are seeing a useful application in your business just with these few descriptions or the few examples that Justin has seen? I see some thumbs up from Jeff. If you want to type in the chat, give us a big yes. If that's something you think that there's an application you could use in your business, seeing what this is capable of. That's fantastic. Whole lot of yeses. That's great. John, Alan, Jim, thumbs up from people. That's really Jeff gave us thumbs up. Great. This is fantastic. Go ahead, Justin. I just wanted to make sure we're hitting the right mark.
Totally. The whole focus with ChatGPT and how I think it affects both of our entities really is the concept of optimization. That we're in a market right now where we need to optimize. We need to do more with less this year. And we've found the way by using this to leverage your time. As business owners, you now have another tool that allows you to do more with less. And we're here to help those individuals who are ready to by coming in and helping you build those script libraries that you might need for the types of documentation and IP that you're after. So that's what we wanted to bring to you is, I'd love to have a symposium for the remainder of the time and chat about kind of here we are. We can pull GPT back up and do some real live examples. But further than that, Paul and I had discussed, we'd love to offer to all the Contractor Convergence members a free hour consultation with us about what real world things are going on in your business right now, and how we can apply ChatGPT to help leverage that so you can do more with less, and really take advantage of this while it's still on this precipice level and before it becomes as ubiquitous as we're sure it's to become. So there's some contact information here. Please feel free. We'll make sure that we send out a thank you email after the presentation as well. But for any of those excited and spontaneous people like myself who want to grab it right here, it's here available right now. Yeah. So
another thing that we're willing to do, which we weren't willing to do before ChatGPT, honestly, because it made its job a lot easier. We're willing to literally do a PASS system, which is a performance assessment system for your entire company. So we'll basically go through all your employees, find out their strengths and weaknesses, put a way together. We have a system to do that. We have software that pulls that off. We'll actually set up this entire system so you can evaluate your employees on a regular basis. You can rate them on a regular basis, develop performance plans for them, and put it all into the software so you can see where people are in the matrix. Can you show that to them real quick, Justin?
I'd be glad to pull that up on the screen, sure.
Because we can now show what a good company actually looks like. There's a visual, which I've never had before, on what a good company looks like, right? So we have a matrix that we use, and Justin's going to pull it up. Shows you a very practical use of the system, where you rate all your employees on their ability to perform as well as their ability to meet the corporate culture. And they go in this matrix. And once they get on the matrix, you can look at the matrix. This is a good company. See everybody. So the way this works is it's 1 to 3 on the ability to perform and 1 to 3 on their ability to meet corporate culture, right? So a good company, everybody is in this quadrant, right? This is a great company. Obviously, our company, I'm prejudiced, but everybody is performing well and fits the corporate culture. When you have somebody out in the zone here, they're either not performing well or not meeting the corporate culture. You got to bring them back into the zone, or you got to replace them. And it's easier to see this way because, like that purple, they need to come up. So we can do this for your whole company, and it won't cost you anything. Now, why are we doing this? Good question. Because we know if we're put on the assignment of helping you build a great team, once we set this entire system up for you and maintain it at no cost, you occasionally are going to need people. And that's where we charge a monthly fee for recruiting. So our idea is we set this up for all Contractor Convergence clients, and we maintain it, help maintain it. And then when they need somebody, we're right there. We also can tell if they need somebody or not. So it's a win-win all the way around. So that's how we're using it as a HR company.
The thing that ties all of this together is that it's really hard for small construction businesses to leverage all of the edifice of HR. HR is one of the things that kind of becomes a bit nebulous. And this almost becomes like an HR department for you in a free software. Because what we've done is we've taken all of the data from ChatGPT and brought it in here. And now this is me. This is how I'm getting reviewed at my job. And I have 6 goals that I have to make. Those goals are ChatGPT generated goals that we've then brought into a leadership meeting and agreed, yes, these are reasonable goals for the director of recruiting of a recruiting firm to have. And then we said, well, isn't it a bit nebulous to just have goals? How are we going to score them? How are we going to know if you're making the mark or not making the mark? Ask ChatGPT. We asked ChatGPT, and it gave us a scoring system. Each one of those KPIs has a percentage, and my supervisors will rank me 1 to 5 on those. They'll then average those together, and I'll have a qualitative analysis. Am I making the mark or not making the mark? And as construction business owners, we've all had the situation, excuse me, where we've had someone on the team and they weren't making it. They couldn't cut it. And to go to them and say, well, you know what? I love your time to hire and your quality to hire, but your candidate experience just isn't making it. It's a rational experience rather than an emotional experience. And when someone at work says, you're not good at your job and you're not going to be part of the organization, there's an emotional reaction. By providing them KPIs, you've moved it to the cognitive. You get less unhappy people when they're training and when they're exiting the organization. This is why HR exists, is to create more harmony within the workplace environment. And this tool allows you to bring HR into your company without it needing to be this painful, complicated thing, and we'll make it easy for you.
And so this is something we couldn't do before ChatGPT. It was way too expensive. It took way too much time. So you as a contractor, let's say you want to write a procedures manual. procedures manual on how to put in, just for fun, a procedures manual on how to put in a window in a Victorian home in let's see how to put in a window, let's say pick a window, a Pella window in a Victorian home using, what did we say before, using some kind of tape? Is it, what is it?
Private tape? Having a hard time with Victorian today.
Right.
While you guys are generating that, I just want to also comment, in addition to Contractor Staffing Source offering that assessment, one of the things that we do for all of the attendees that are coming in is we do a free 1-hour profit strategy session. And so looking at the whole picture of your company, what improvements you would like to make, what holes that you have, what challenges you're currently facing, to kind of set up the thought process of how do I wrap my head around using a resource like Contractor Staffing Source? Where would be the best place for me to put my attention? How would I start this process? What things could I do? And so Jen in the chat has put a Once Hub information call with Paul to get that set up and do that with them. And I've also just put into the chat a Calendly link where you can go and schedule that that question and answer strategy session with us. And we'll go ahead and start that process. So you get both of our teams immediately working together with your company. And this is free just for attending today. Obviously, we want to tell you about what we do and how we do it, but that has to be something that you want. We want to make sure that this is a benefit to everybody involved. And so if you guys would like to do more around the strategy of your business and learn how to make it more profitable and how to bring people into your team to help you do that, we've partnered up with Contractor Staffing Source to do exactly that. So that link's in the chat. And Justin, go ahead and tell us what you just did here.
Sure. So GPT's hard at work. I just asked it for a multi-step process on how to install a Pella window in a Victorian home using Tyvek tape. So it gave me the materials required and a multi-step process. Is this a comprehensive guide? No. But is this 80% of the way done? And do you need to now spend 5 minutes rather than 50 minutes on the document? Yes.
And you can also say, please write it in Spanish, which it will do, right?
Definitely do that.
Absolutely.
And also GPT now speaks, it was funny, like 3 weeks ago, it spoke 9 languages. Now it speaks every language in the world, I think now, because it learns. So it speaks like, I don't know, 50 languages now.
Yeah.
Someone else will have to tell me if it's actually writing linguistically appropriate Spanish. I put it so that it would put linguistically appropriate Japanese, which I can verify. So when it starts to the Japanese mode, I'll tell you if it's telling the truth or not. But if there's any Spanish speakers out there right now, if you see this and you can speak to the efficacy of its linguistics, I've heard that it's quite good. Quite good.
I mean, my Spanish is pretty rusty, but it seems pretty good to me. And better than I could do with my rusty Spanish. So I'm gonna give it the thumbs up. And like Justin said, this is one of the things that we found often is starting with a blank page is really difficult. Being 80% there and then having to do refinement or take a standard operating procedure like this and make it work is such a massive boost to your company that you would have this starting place, this already pre-built process that then you can go and make the tweaks and adjust it and have it be really exactly what you wanted. And as you get better at prompting and understanding the facilities at your disposal with ChatGPT, you can actually get at most of the other 20% there without having to do work, just by asking it to do refinement, asking other questions, implementing things that are important to you. Oftentimes I'll start with a bullet point of stuff, a list of bullet points that I've got maybe written an outline for an article, and give it half a dozen things to base it on, and then it does such a better job implementing what I was already thinking into the overall document that we're asking it to create.
This is a great level of the playing field, because what happens is it allows us all to have billions of dollars of equipment available for $20 a month. It's insane, right?
Right.
It's coming to
Alan
this-
asked a good question in the chat and said, are we getting different output from the free version? And Rick, maybe you can speak to that, because I know that you've done a lot of work in both the free version and the plus version. So do you want to tell us what your real world experience has been with that?
So the answer is yes and no. Currently, Justin is using the 3.5 version of ChatGPT. That is available on the free version, and it's completely open. There's no difference in the model from the free version to the version that Justin is using right now. The paid version allows you to upgrade to the just released ChatGPT 4, which has a little bit, far larger. This is what Paul was describing at the beginning of the call, far larger training set that it has learned on, orders of magnitude larger.
And so, Rick, how much is 100 trillion?
Well, I mean,
A whole lot.
it's a lot, exactly. So
A ridiculous
nobody knows
amount.
if it's exactly
Too
100
much.
trillion. OpenAI says it's not, but that's the rumor that they have, that it's 100 trillion different parameters. But the real point is, for $20, you can have access. The real key here is not so much whether it's 3.5 or 4. The limiting factor right now is that this is the fastest growing company in terms of signups in the world ever up to this date. They had 100 million users in, I think it was either 30 or 60 days that signed up to use it. And so on the free version, it limits your access. The $20 you're paying is to get guaranteed access, to the system, not so much for which platform it is. And it is well worth it, because then you can actually log in, you can actually use it. You're not on a wait list. You can have availability at different times of the day. You're not waiting for, if there's peak moments where they kick you out.
Remember, it reminds me of that joke, Rick, when someone says, I've got a whole stack of gold here. Why don't you get yourself a shovel and go get some? And the guy says, you know how much a shovel costs?
Exactly.
Jim
The
just
$20
asked
is nothing.
Right. Jim just asked a great question in the chat. Given that web content needs to be unique, if I write a blog for my website and input the exact same parameters as the competitor, would it create an identical blog? And if you reference your website in the prompting, it will write it given the parameters that it learns from your website. So if you have an About Us page and an Our Story, and you've already given it some background, absolutely not. It will be totally different, even if you were to ask it the same questions. You can prompt it into really speaking in your voice. And we've done some work and worked with other people that have a lot of experience, have built prompt generators where you can actually, Justin is raising his hand, he's familiar with this too, where you can select from a whole series of drop-down menus in the prompt generator to create a prompt that speaks in your voice or speaks in the voice of Tony Stark, if you want. I mean, like, you literally can speaks in the voice of Oprah and create different content based on the prompts that you give it. So, even if you were to ask it the exact same parameters, you can change the voice that it speaks and the content related to that totally. Very customizable. So, and would definitely pass the Google test.
Right. This is going to take over all the stuff you don't like to do, like write job descriptions, write procedures manuals, all that stuff that's really dull and boring, you don't have the time to do, right? It will do it for you. And, one of my friends said, I won't sign down, I'm too afraid it's Skynet. I mean, if you have a cell phone or Alexa, you're already there. It's too late. So it is the new tech, it's where things are going. It's going to entirely change the way construction's done, the way education's done, the way law is done, because no longer having access to information gives you a right to charge people a ton of money. It basically levels that playing field. So I would say get in soon, and you learn to use this tool, because it's like, your fellow contractors using a nail gun and a backhoe, and you're using a hammer and a shovel. You're going to lose. Doesn't have anything how smart you are. So
Yeah.
this is like that. Justin, you have a question?
Well, I think there's the two important considerations as a deep user of GPT technology is, as big tech is aware of more and more of these machine learning tools, as Corel is putting in the chat, I think quite capably as well, there's humanization tools and paraphrasing tools out there, because big tech is smart, that they do have tools and filters to check for AI. So using a paraphrasing tool or rehumanizing your text, or what I like to do is I take the final copy of what ChatGPT has provided me, and I spend 10 minutes with it, and I put me into it. And then I take what it's given me, and I inject some of my linguistics, some of my style into it. It still saved me 45 minutes. Maybe I spent 5 or 10 minutes on it, but it's my document. I save this, and now it's my intellectual property. So I've been doing that quite a bit. And
So Justin and Rick, just quickly, if a guy does write a blog, he could put in the content of his blog so it learns his voice, correct?
absolutely, yes.
Yeah.
I have a ongoing training thing that I'm doing with a particular set of clients. And this script is about 60 scripts, 60 chats back and forth long now. And this is one of the benefits of this technology, is that the more that we give it, the more it learns and responds. And technically, when you open your Chat GPT for the first time, everyone mouses through it, but this is a research preview. This is for research use. We are helping build what's going to be a platform for the next 100+ years. Kind of like at the beginning of the internet, there was the W3 consortium that made up the rules of the internet. We're there again. This is a really exciting place to be for those of us who leverage it. We're kind of setting the rules for how GPT and AI are going to work with society. Pretty cool.
Thanks for putting those resources in the chat, Corel. That's great.
Yeah.
If you guys
Yeah,
want to
that's really
click on
good.
those links, it'll just open up a window you can go to after this meeting and start playing around with it right away.
Awesome.
What other
Justin, am I
questions
right
do we
in understanding that the emails that you guys send out to promote this webinar were written by ChatGPT?
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
So I took their emails and I said, could you please rewrite these emails from the perspective of Contractor Convergence? And then I said, and I told it that we were a collaboration, and say, could you send the emails or rewrite these emails from the perspective of a collaboration between us? And ChatGPT wrote those. So all the emails that you may have seen to promote this event were also written by ChatGPT, or at least 90%, because I did go through them, correct a couple little words here and there. Few things that were more to my voice than ChatGPT, but 90% plus of all the emails you received to promote this event were from ChatGPT itself.
Yeah. Another huge time saving. I think, Paul, you said it really well at the beginning. Everybody's like, well, AI is going to take over my job, and it's not. Somebody who understands using this technology will likely far surpass your capabilities. And it's also going to create a new segment in the job market of, people who are AI prompt engineers, so to speak, that really understand the ins and outs of how this works. And so not only do I not think it's going to take jobs away, I think it's going to reposition the job market a little bit, but I see an entirely new industry being built around this technology that doesn't exist. There are going to be a ton of new jobs because of it. It's just going to change the landscape of how we work. And that's really exciting. It's a huge opportunity to get in on the front end and understand how you can have an impact with this before the masses get a hold of it. I mean, like Rick said, 100 million people signed up right away, but think of the population that could use this effectively. That's still a very, very small percentage when we're talking billions of people that could potentially use this product.
And the thing is, this is a leveler on the whole planet, because everybody on the planet has a cell phone. There's more cell phones than people, right?
Yeah.
So everybody has access to this. It's not like if they come up with a new technology on how to do power, it takes forever to get distributed. This is distributed instantly. Now, I personally have pulled contractors through tech for like 40 years. I mean, I go back when literally didn't have cell phones. And I convinced them, you know, there's a big box in your back of your car. You use a radio to talk to the person. It was like a radio phone. And eventually I convinced them to use cell phones, which was the most contractors at the beginning. So look, at the cell phone is going to disturb my peace in my truck. I'm not going to use one. And then we went through emails. Emails are a fad. They're not going to work out. No, forget emails. Then went for emails. The next one was websites. I don't need websites. Websites are stupid. They're just for kids. And then we went through, like, the one before this was project management software. You know, it's way too complicated. I'm going to use my Excel program. I really don't need, you know, whatever, Builder, Trend, or Co-Construct. And this is like the next generation. It's just the next thing. And it's an exponential curve. So, I mean, if you still want to use a hammer instead of a nail gun, and you want to use a shovel instead of a, you know, backhoe, and you want to use a yellow pad, I mean, you could be in business, but it would be really hard, right? So the faster you adapt this technology, the more competitive you're going to be. And the fact that you're at this webinar is great, because most people aren't, right? So, and I can't tell you how many successful contractors, there are clients I went in the last week and I said, have you used ChatGPT? And they said, what's that? Yeah. And these are guys that are doing 20 million a year. They go, what are you talking about? So it offers you an opportunity using this technology to really catch up and, you know, beat your competition that's not, because it's amazingly useful. You just got to practice.
Corel.
Corel, yeah, you got a question.
Yeah, actually, I want to expand on what was being inferred before. So basically, we have a good idea of what AI is, but in reality, what we also have to analyze is what it is not. This was actually originally called machine learning. So it's actually more that, but marketing purposes and general culture have led it to be called AI. It's basically mathematics, applied mathematics, where it does millions of calculations to where it appears to make inferences and et cetera, but it's really just has a great understanding of language, linguistic rules, and how to conduct different searches and link different things. And the different technologies or implementations of this are just different, you know, optimizations of how it creates those links and puts things together and presents it to you in a package or a message, right? Obviously, it's not the only implementation. There's also exciting developments where you can load your AutoCAD, and it will automatically generate textures where it believes that the right things are, saving a lot of time, getting a lot of the legwork done, and allowing you to focus on, you know, just the final rendering and presentation, etc. There's exciting developments, obviously, within robotics as well, machine learning with robotics. So what's coming down the line is, for example, a completely automated, let's go with landscaping business, where a self-driving car will arrive, deploy robots that will know where to trim, where to go. If the customer has apples, they will identify based on the shade of the apple whether to harvest that apple or leave it. And possibilities are endless.
And the one fascinating to me is this is as bad as it's ever going to be, right? What you just saw is the worst it's ever going to do, because it's learning. And if you understand exponential curve, I sort of got the idea when they said ChatGPT 1 went at 100 million, 2 and 3, and then 3 had 150 billion, and 4 has 100 trillion, and whatever that is. That's exponential growth. And so it's getting better literally by the week. And I think most people aren't familiar with exponential things because we've been on a pretty much, you know, linear growth for a long time. Exponential, it's hard to even fathom where this is going to be in a year. You'll be able to design a house and it'll tell what I want to design a house in this place, this location. I'll design the house. You'll walk through it in VR. So it's changing really rapidly. I think the key as contractors and in your business is to adapt. I'm excited about our business because we can deliver a lot better service now. We can be a whole HR department and do all these evaluations and all this kind of stuff and write performance. We couldn't have ever done that for any kind of reasonable cost in the past. So now with ChatGPT, we can do what would have taken days and days and hundreds of dollars for pennies on the dollar because you know how to use it. So you as a contractor can do the same thing. Whether it's your marketing, it'll write your business plan, it'll write your marketing plan. If you want it, it will, do all your blogs for you, all that kind of stuff. It'll tell you what to talk to architects about. So it's, the more you can embrace the technology, the better off you're going to be. Is, I think, most emotionally, technologically, and a better balance of free time, because most contractors I know work way too hard for the money they make.
Can I show you a couple examples of what we've been able to pull together?
Sure.
Let me just share my screen for just 1 second.
You should be able to.
Yep.
Host. Yep.
Can you guys see my screen?
Yeah.
Contrast delivery methods. Now, this would be what we teach when we start to analyze business models and delivery methods for contractors. It built this table for me. Here's a rubric focused specifically on the differences in the pre-construction process between traditional design, build, and integrated project delivery methodologies. The factors are rated on a scale of 1 to 5, with 1 being least favorable, 5 being the most favorable. And this has to do with aspects of the business model that we teach our clients in dealing with profit leaks, dealing with processes to deliver a high-touch, high-value, exceptional client experience. And so it came up with the rubric. I asked it to create these categories, and it did. It also came up with the scoring based on information that it knows about traditional delivery methods, design build delivery methods, and the new kid on the block is integrated project delivery methodologies, which a lot of people don't know about yet, and how that actually beats out all the others. So there's it gave a definition of what each of these things are within the rubric, very similar to what Justin did for analyzing an employee. We're now analyzing aspects of the business as a whole, which is what Contractor Convergence does. The other thing I wanted to show you was and I'm willing to give this to you guys if you want to have a copy of this and use it as a base, but this was the prompt that I used. Please pretend you're the world's best copywriter. You have been tasked to write a letter used to help onboard, orient, and activate new clients to the pre-construction process of a world-class high-end custom home building contractor. The letter is to help them be the very best clients they could be and to urge them to be engaged and proactive in the process. Pre-construction can be demanding and require lots of decisions, as there's some urgency to get the process in order to meet schedule, processing hurdles, etc. Please use all your skills in writing empathetic, personable, non-jargon filled copy designed to be positive and encouraging. And you write a letter like this, and you talk to it like a human, but you're basically giving it context and the ingredients about what you want it to write. And I'm not going to give you the whole or read the whole thing, but this is a fantastic welcome letter when somebody comes into your world and wants to start a pre-construction process with you. How do you help them? How do you start setting expectations with them? Welcome and congratulations on choosing your company as your partners in crafting your dream custom home. We couldn't be more thrilled to embark on this journey with you. Our team is committed to providing you with a world-class experience from start to finish that begins with the pre-construction process. I'm going to go down here. Here are a few key pointers to help you be the best client you can be and to make the pre-construction process as seamless as possible. Be open and transparent, stay organized, prioritize communication, trust the process. Our experienced team has successfully navigated the pre-construction process countless times. Rely on our expertise to guide you through each stage with confidence. Embrace collaboration. We're committed to making this process as enjoyable and stress-free as possible for you. Remember, the pre-construction phase is where the magic begins. By working together, we can create a stunning custom home that exceeds your expectations. I couldn't write a letter as good as this in 100 drafts, okay?
Clear, succinct. Now, Rick has developed a very good way of prompting. If you read that prompt, you understand that he had thought about the message that you were trying to create. And so that does take some thought and some foresight and experience. But the more you play around with this, and this is new technology. It's not like we've all been at this for years. We've literally been at it for a couple of months. I mean, it just hasn't existed that long. And so your learning curve, as you get into this and start doing it, you quickly find you're thinking in new ways and you're thinking about prompting in new ways. And then you'll start creating tools to do that, even that part of it for you, or asking GPT, can you create this tool for me that does this thing that I need? And so the learning is just like the number of people signing up. The learning is also exponential once you get involved and start doing it. And that is a phenomenal example. That was, what was that, a couple of weeks ago? Last week, Rick? It was just a couple of
last
weeks
week.
ago.
Yep.
Yeah. That we had a need, and boom, there you go. This, like Rick said, better than 100 drafts. It said everything you needed to say and needed very little tweaking to make that usable content for a client.
I think that harmonizes really, the essence of how to use GPT is to bring your masteries to GPT so it can optimize them for you. I don't think I would ever ask GPT to write a letter about particle physics, because I know that it's smarter than I am linguistically. So it could BS me on particle physics and I wouldn't know if it's telling me the truth or not. So it's one of the best practices of GPT and chatbot technologies is to choose a subject matter that you can fact check it upon, and then to go in there and begin to create those scripts. I have a script in my chat GPT of all the scripts that I've created, but then I've got the real golden egg ones that I've taken out and put into a text library that I only open up Pandora's box on, on work meetings for. And what I'm seeing right now is Microsoft and Apple are hiring prompt engineers with a starting salary of $325,000 a year. That's their starting salary, is $325,000 a year. This is the Nina, the Pinta, and the Santa Maria of our generation. And for those of us who tap into it now, you'll have an advantage. So I would plead with you, find a way to use it to your advantage. And if you need a trusted advisor in recruiting, we're here to help you. And if you need a trusted advisor in coaching and getting your business going, Contractor Convergence is here to help you. And in so doing, you'll find the other trusted advisors you need to tap into to create your network of expertise. And we'd be honored to show you the way.
Jen, will you pop that link in again to set up an appointment for anybody that wants to do an assessment with you guys or get connected with Contractor Staffing Source? I also did that for our strategy session. It's the application Q&A. It's literally, we spend an hour with you just asking questions, talking about your business, figuring out what strategies that you can use to attain the goals you're looking at. And I would imagine that part of that will be a staffing, concern, and where do we grow? How do we grow? Who do we hire first? What do we do? And that's why we've partnered with Contractor Staffing Source, because the two work so well hand in hand. We've seen time and time again. We actually have Jeff Pike. I don't know if I can call you out, but as a client of both of ours, Jeff works as the what's the new title? The general manager.
General manager.
Yes.
General manager of a client of ours that we've known for years. And Jeff is using both of our services. What has your experience been, Jeff?